Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Mikey, Lance, and Joe here with the Comic Chop Season 2. This is the Comic Chop, the sideshow of Slashers podcast and Much Ado About Nerding, where we slice our way through the aisles of our local comic book shop and review all things comic and nerdy. I'm Mikey, and as always, I'm joined by Lance from our show Slashers podcast and Joe from our sister show Much Ado About Nerding. On the chopping block today, we have R.L. Stine's Stuff of Nightmares Issue 1, Sleigh Ride from Boom Studios. You can view this thing here. Ooh, Joe has one too. Oh, Lance, your cover sucks. That's why it's not showing it.
It's there, I swear.
The problem with green screen.
Stupid thing. It's kind of there. Oh, it's whatever.
Should have changed your settings like I told you to, but he didn't, everybody. He didn't, but it's fine. So yes, R.L. Stine. You heard that right. Not your mama's or my R.L. Stine. But this weird, new, I'm going to be edgy and adult R.L. Stine. He's back and he's reimagining the holiday season in a more bloody and adult way. Before we get into it, just gotta ask, R.L. Stine, you guys fans or no? Not really, don't care for me?
I think we all read Goosebumps growing up. I don't think I know anybody that's never read at least one or at least heard of it. But yeah, that and what Fear Street.
Yeah.
Fear Street was pretty cool. But yeah, obviously fans.
Yeah. Lance, I know you're older than Joe and myself, but
Goosebumps would be the major thing. TV shows, little books, as I had
little books.
Yeah, we have nieces and cousins and stuff like that. So, you always want to try to persuade them to be, a little bit more nerd or creepy or, stuff that you like and, stuff that you can kind of get them into without their parents being too upset that you're the black sheep of the family, giving them to make them go, why would you do that to my child, and make them freak out that they think something's under the bed now or some other crazy shit like that. I'm like, because I can, and
yeah. I'm pretty sure R.L. Stine had a hand in many people's entry into horror. That is adorable, Joe. What are you drinking today?
I am drinking
the Griswold
NMX Standard from Santa Fe Brewing. It's a local brewery here. Shout out to them. They're not a sponsor, but they kind of are because I don't record without them. So
whoop, whoop, there you go. So if you do want to sponsor us,
I
know you're listening. but yeah, R.L. Stine, he's probably the one most responsible for most children in getting into horror. I didn't actually read it when I was young because if you heard slashers, you've heard the story before. So sorry for repeating it. I went to elementary school. I'm sorry, we all did. I went to private school in elementary school. Censorship does not work, folks, because in private school they gave us the Scholastics Fair and they made us scratch out all of the Goosebumps and Harry Potters because that was of the devil.
Oh, geez, really?
Well, yeah, and turns out so am I. So I just went to other bookstores and got them. I haven't read it yet, but I have a book called Superstition by R.L. Stine, and it's one of his adult novels because, as we know, he writes stuff for children and teens, and I'm excited to read it. I haven't got to it yet, but I've heard the consensus is R.L. Stine is kind of awkward when he writes for adults, and so that may come into play later. But before we begin, it's been quite a while since I've seen you fellas, or you, Joe. Lance is here with me every week.
I was he's he never really sees me.
on the comic front, the nerdy front, is there anything you've read this towards the end of the year or seen any comics turn into movies?
No, I haven't really been reading anything really. Well, as far as comic books go, I just read through again Stephen King's Fairy Tale. Highly recommend it. Go check out that book. It's relatively new. I think it's within the last couple of years. But yeah, we got the new Superman trailer that just dropped.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about that, but hopefully
You don't think guy looks a little too old there? I mean, with his sweet bowl cut there.
Well, not just the old one. I mean, you're not taking your time at introducing like what was it, Hawkwoman and Guy Gardner, not even Green Lantern. He's Guy Gardner with the ball. Oh God. Yeah. So I'm like, hopefully it's good, but I don't.
Well, Mr. Fantastic. So I mean, uh, that's a character. If you watched the Arrowverse, you know of because they introduced him into that realm of things. Guy Gardner, no one. I mean, I don't think there's been any real actual live action.
No, not that I know of.
Yeah, no. I mean, and then you also had is it Hawk Girl or Hawk Woman?
I
Hawk
have
Girl.
no. It's
Yeah.
Hawk Girl.
I think so. And I don't even know anything at all talking about, but I see a lot. I hang out with a lot of you type of people. As an outsider, someone that hasn't seen Zack Snyder's Superman, or I don't think I've actually seen any of the Supermans other than when they did Justice League. I didn't see the Christian Bale ones either. It looks good. I mean, I want to watch it. It looks fun. One of the things I've heard is that people aren't like, they were like eye rolly when it came to what's his dog's name?
Crypto.
Crypto. Yeah. But then there's people are like, well, no, like that's how the comic book is. So like James Gunn's trying to be more loyal to the comics. So already the divide is happening. I'm like, why can't people just be like, cool? And I want to see it. I think it looks good. Now, what I do want to see that no one else will watch with me, I've asked, and no one, people will straight up say no. My friends, my dear friends, who I'm supposed to trust my life with, will not go see Craven with me. So I said, looks like it's just me and a bottle of lube at the movie theater then. So
yeah. You know, actually I actually saw I saw the last Venom one, the Last Dance one.
I saw that.
Yeah, that it wasn't bad. I mean, I think I think the Venom movies, honestly, like they all have the same plateau. You know what I mean? Like they don't really like the first one is great because you're thinking, okay, it's cool. Probably the best version of Venom you've seen to this point.
Yeah.
And then the next one was like, all right, cool. You know how to make Venom well. Then you know how to do Carnage. You know, I mean, Woody Harrelson didn't do a bad job. I mean, Woody Harrelson is Woody Harrelson, and he did a great job. I mean, you kind of get, you know, what was the movie that he was like he plays a psycho? I mean, not psycho, but
the something killers.
Yeah, American Killers or something like that. You know
That's
what it was?
What it's called.
Something close to that. But I mean, but like that's the last time you saw him play a psycho kind of ideal, and he still does well with that. So I mean, I think that's great. You know, but the third one was kind of like, all right, cool. You're trying to end this trilogy. You throw a whole bunch of other entities, you know, so it's like,
yeah, cool. My kid likes them. Both of them now. Both my kids like them. When I watch them, they entertain me. Tom Hardy can all he wants to me, but I think that's for a movie like that. That's all I can ask for. Like it got kind of like it's like a horror movie. They get cheesy sometimes. It's like, well, I had fun, but I'm not going to go rush out and buy it. You know, not like some movies that I've seen this year that we'll be covering next week that I can't wait for physical media so I can get a copy of. Yeah, I won't ask you, Joe, because I already saw your face and I know we've talked about it before. Venom to you. You don't see her. You don't know her.
How do you have a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man in it? And like that's because let's be honest, that's what they're there for Spider-Man. And it bugs me that
sorry, I thought about insects again.
But that's the same reason I didn't care for Gotham. You know what I mean? Because it's like you get a young Bruce Wayne, cool, but now you're age gapping some of these evil villains to Batman, like majorly, and then everybody's like, "Oh no, it's about Commissioner Gordon." I go, "Oh, I didn't know there's a Commissioner Gordon comic that I gave a shit about." like I just, you know what I mean? Like, it's great, and I don't mind if it's a detective thing, and I kind of like it as a side idea. But say it's a side thing. Don't give me Bruce Wayne randomly.
Yeah,
and then like it's like make it somebody else. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Make it Commissioner Gordon against the mobsters, kind of like how Penguin was. Penguin was great, and you didn't have Batman in it. That was actually decent because it was a mob movie, basically.
I will say I will take a step back on that. Penguin was fantastic. Penguin was fantastic. So I will say I will take that. That is the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
it was more of a mob movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't worry about Batman because it had nothing to do with Batman. It's like getting a street level neighborhood Spider-Man. You know what I mean? When Spider-Man's just doing regular everyday stuff comparatively to, I mean, that's kind of why Kingpin's there. He's not an actual dude that has any real powers. He's just a evil dude.
Yeah.
He does evil shit. So that was why it was okay. But I mean, did you get to see that at all, Mikey? Penguin at all?
No.
Oh, okay.
You should.
I want to, but it's shows require commitment. It's bad enough that I was like, you know what's going to be a great idea? Let me watch all of the Lord of the Rings for the first time. And then you were like, oh, we're going to cover them all. And I was like, I can't do it in a month, Joe. I can't do it in a month. So I just missed a whole month of your episodes. And
wow. You've never seen the Lord of the Rings?
No.
Wow.
That's funny.
3 hours long each. And that's my friend's like, no, you have to watch the uncut ones. And I'm like, I do prefer uncut, but like and
everything.
That's ew, Lance. No, I'm so sorry. Lance.
You were 100% insinuating. I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
He knows I know his other half.
I just like the vision the director wants me to see. Whether it's the director of Lord of the Rings or the director of the physical human form. Anyway. Oh my God.
There can only be one that rules all of them.
Well, so much for the R.L. Stine episode being child friendly. Anyways, lovely discussion, gentlemen. Thank you. We're back. Yada yada yada. Episode 1, season 2. Lance owned Joe with some joke I didn't understand, so point for Lance. But
I just knew he liked it. That's why I was like, well, this one I got him on.
Yeah. Which, you know, as things come out, we can talk about like the Superman stuff later on whenever it actually comes out and I watch, because I want to watch it, and all this other stuff. Maybe we'll do an episode on Penguin once I actually watch Penguin. But with that said, today we're reading Sleigh Ride, which is an entry of Stuff of Nightmares, which is an anthology series, which I didn't know. If you're unfamiliar with Stuff of Nightmares, which I was before I read this, it's like Tales from the Crypt, but like with the weird burn victim Batman and like Boris or whatever the butler's name is instead of the Crypt Keeper. And this is a standalone version, so you don't need to like read anything else to watch this, I think, or read this. I think that's going to be how they all are. But basically, it follows a deranged Santa who's not exactly spreading joy and goodwill this Christmas. And so I was like, this wasn't in your comic book shop, was it, Joe? Because I think you looked for it. Okay, yeah.
No.
It might have been because it was old, like older. Not old, but like, because I bought it when I was in Florida last time with you, Lance, 2 times ago, actually. And I saw it and I was like, oh, R.L. Stine. I love R.L. Stine. Ooh, Christmas horror. I love Christmas horror. So I bought it. And then Lance bought one. And then I was like, let's get one for Joe. But we had to go to the interwebs to get one for Joe because it was a little late and they weren't at the comic shop. But yeah, so gentlemen, I fucking hated this book.
You too? Good.
Yes.
I thought I was going to be the only one. I felt bad writing my notes. That's how bad I didn't like this. I actually took notes as I was reading it. And
so you take notes when it's bad and not when it's good?
No, it's good because it's like, oh no, I really love this. I really love this. I don't have to take notes. This is like, oh my God. Let's just eviscerate this book, please.
Yes. Great. I would love that.
Ironic word that you use there, especially for the ending of this book for the character.
Well, I mean, and this is what I said earlier about R.L. Stine not really knowing how to write for adults, because Well, I've heard about this book that I haven't read yet. Reading this, I was like, who talks like this? Why does Santa Claus keep saying ho ho like ho like use it sparingly,
To
my
me,
brother?
it started off well. I was like, okay, cool. Because this one, no, this isn't the Carolers. That's next week. Yeah, yeah, that started off with that. But like, it started off okay. But then when they tried to do the exposition at the beginning, he's like, "Oh, and by the way, my name is so and so, and this is my butler." So it's like, dude,
Yeah,
if you just break the fourth wall, you'll be copying, like you said, Tales from the Crypt and Creep Show. But just do that. You're already doing it. So just be like, my name is so and so, and we're gonna tell a story about. I thought the exposition at the beginning was lazy,
Mm.
it was.
contrived. What are some other college words I can use?
I didn't finish.
Big dum dum. Like,
Joe's the only one here with the degree, so I can Monique and say you think what's the name? Because you got your degree in every fucking thing. I love saying that to people. But anyways,
Uh,
I hate whenever it's like they want to do a narrative without having a narrator. So the
mhm,
person, the character is narrating what they're doing. I'm like, that doesn't happen. And like it kind of gave me vibes of like, because the only time I've ever seen that in comic books lately, not lately, but the only time I've seen it is like super old comic books. Like really, really old comic books before we got a little more creative with our writing. So it kind of reminded me of like something that like maybe I would find in my grandpa's comic book collection from like the 60s, and that would explain why it was so cheesy.
but I
But
mean, look who you have writing this. I mean, it makes sense that like it would be almost exactly in that time frame that feeling you got because it is a dude that's in that age bracket.
yeah,
You
but
know,
R.L. Stine knows how to scare you, even if it's just creep stuff. Like there's stuff in the first Goose. Joe just covered it on his show I think Halloween,
yeah.
the Dead House, because I just started buying the Goosebumps from number one to whatever I can get to, and I've been reading them as I've gone along. And like the first one is the most like intense, like slightly a little more mature for children, or maybe we could just handle more when we were kids. I don't know, but so he knows how to scare you, but or like even just creep you out. But like there's nothing in this. It was
I thought the story was good. You have a mall Santa that's what he lives for every year, and then you have the brick and mortar stores starting to close down. Because that's what I kind of got from it was like
yeah,
we can't afford our mall Santa because we're not doing too well. And you see that now with like Amazon. And I'm not anti Amazon. I'm not trying to be that guy, but it's killing brick and mortar stores.
yeah,
And I could like the premise I can see, but the execution was
yeah.
lacking,
And
lacking.
I don't need like realism in my comic books. That's what comic books, they don't stand for that really. But the biggest thing is I was like, is this Santa Claus? Because he is just some guy that hangs out all year until Christmas, and his purpose in life is to be the mall
Mm.
Santa. And somehow he gets powers to control rats.
I don't.
That was a cool point. I'm not gonna lie, that was actually pretty cool the way how he killed the parents with that. But
I mean, it was cool, but also like I was expecting them to be like, surprise, this is actually Santa. That's why he can do all that.
mm, mm.
And that would have been enough of a reasoning or enough of an exposition for me to be like, oh, that's why he's like a little magical. But no, and then oh god. We'll talk about the ending towards the end. But
uh,
the notes I had, the dialogue was atrocious, the self narration, the overused ho ho hos. This was a very childish comic, but with adult themes. I didn't even like the way he killed people. The rat was okay, and the rats were okay, but also like I was like, okay, you've done it already. Why are you doing it again?
Mhm.
Um, and also like he would like almost kill people, but like he didn't. He wouldn't. Like the kids kept getting away. I was like, kill the fucking kids. We already
Yeah.
saw it in Terrifier 3. Like, hello, R.L. Stine. It wasn't creative. Um, it was like if this was a Tales from the Crypt episode, it would be like the worst episode in the Tales from the Crypt series. This is like the later episode or season of Tales from the Crypt where it got,
out of money.
yeah, when they started putting it on basic cable.
And then like the almost sex scene, like the detective is making out with his wife, girlfriend, whatever, and then like he just gets up and oh, I gotta go find this guy, and just starts walking the streets like
Yeah. And it's
lazy,
and
lazy.
then I forgot. I don't even remember why. That's how invested I was. But Santa wants to kill these two characters, and you see them walking into a house, and then the next scene is like the house like on fire. And then the scene after that is that couple in bed getting a phone call being like, your dad's house is on fire. What? We were just there taking the cat out. I was like, what the fuck?
I mean,
no.
with all that being said, the artwork was pretty decent and kind of different and fun. I mean, I did enjoy that. I kind of like the shadow art that it seemed like it was kind of deal.
Well, that's what I was actually just gonna say. Like on the cover, like just like his face is all shadowy, and then like his eyes are glowing.
See, I don't even have that one. I have a different one, but I obviously can't show you because my thing's on. So,
What cover is this?
you know, it's like
I think we have the same one. You have this one, right, Joe?
Yeah.
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 Lance has one with like it's like an elf person like doing like a tiptoe, right?
Hold on, let's see if I can find a spot for it.
Put it in front of your body. Nope, that's just your tattoo. That was weird.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, it's like an elf doing like a weird tiptoe thing.
Yeah, but he's like on a rotting corpse deer looking thing.
I was gonna say that badass creature isn't in it.
No,
So who knows where that
definitely
is?
not.
Yeah.
No.
Definitely not.
No, this cover makes it look way cool. Like when I saw this cover, I was thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be a fucking fun one. Look out!" You know?
Nay, nay.
No,
It was not.
The worst murder thing was when he grabs the tree and he has so much force and power of a regular man that he was able to shove a whole tree through a man's body. I was like, huh.
I mean, it's not that much hassle, but this all leads up to a very climactic downcoming. What's the word? Sorry, I've been drinking a little bit. The downfall, there you go, of Santa. And you said, oh, this is like when Tales from the Crypt ran out of money. This is when the story ran out of ideas. And he just dies by slipping off the roof.
Yeah.
Into a fire through a chimney, by the way, folks. And then the cheesy fucking line at the end, which was like the piece de resistance of this book, was literally like, Dad, you said Santa Claus wasn't real. Guess I was wrong. Like,
he's not anymore.
It's all done. By the way, there's a human being burning in your fucking chimney.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? I was like, I'm not high enough to read this book.
Another moment in there when they're like, "Oh, we know who it is. We know what Santa it is. This is his address." And then they go like they just kick in the door to this random freaking house. Yeah. And it's like, "Oh my God, you wouldn't do at least like do a background check on your cop computer and be like, "Oh, maybe this isn't his house." You're just kicking it in. Like, come on.
Because it was the address he listed for something.
Yeah.
And they just was like, okay.
Employment.
Yeah, because serial killers always are honest on those things.
God. And then just like walking around Christmas Eve arresting Santa Clauses. Like the cops have enough bad PR. I'm gonna go ahead and say that would not happen again.
Well, there was a movie where this movie or this story kept giving me Silent Night, Deadly Night things, like the old Santa Claus movie. And in the remake, I think it's the remake, they actually have a plot point where they have to go arrest Santa, but like there's Santas everywhere. So I was like, okay, Silent Night, whatever. But with all that said, is there anything redeeming about this story to you guys?
I mean, again, the art probably. Like the art was, I mean, I like the cover, honestly. I mean, it would suck you in. I mean, I think easily, even the one you guys have and this one, I thought they were really cool. The art actually inside's pretty cool. I think Joe's right about the rat. I thought that was like kind of a cool kill, almost kind of funny because like especially because of Terrifier 3 and their use of rodents. It did seem a little more like Pied Piper-ish because he brought him again. So you're kind of like, okay. Like one time would have been fine. Like, okay, cool. 2 times you're like, what is his magical powers? He has lots of rats where he lives and
the Rat King.
Yeah, exactly. Which again, it's a different kind of movie, folks.
Or tie it into the Nutcracker or something. I don't know.
Yeah. At least have a reindeer, or like stab somebody with antlers, or like I don't know.
No, I would have closed the damn book if they did that, because that's another Silent Night, Deadly Night thing. You have terrible ideas, Lance.
No, what I mean in this book, I mean, like you could have gone a million different ways. I mean, like choke them out with your sack. Like,
Nice.
Oh, there's the
Nice.
YouTube short.
It's just like there's so many other ways you could have gone with that. Like, you know, what I mean, it's like I don't know. I mean, bash them over the head with Christmas bells. You know, like anything.
Even if they did like a Hall of Fame of horror movie kills, like if he just went through, and even if you've seen it on screen, and you know you take from this movie, take from this movie, and so the reader's like, oh, I see what you're doing. At least you can acknowledge like we are blatantly copying, putting it in our story. But I would be way more okay with that than again
than nothing. The nothing that they gave us. I think the biggest issue with this is I felt like they wanted to be adult, they wanted to be extreme and gory, but it was hokey gore, and every time they had the chance to actually be extreme, they pussied out, like not killing the kids, or like not having the rats actually like showing them eat.
Yeah, well, and I'm looking behind you, you've got the cover behind you, there's a severed foot hanging above the fireplace. Like that's pretty gory. You were going to put that on the cover but not put anything at least that level or higher inside the book.
Yeah,
come on.
Well, everybody, it seems like we fucking hated this movie or book, because in my notes it says, does it have any redeeming qualities? It says no. And that's it. So that brings us to the close of the episode, because we only have 5 minutes left in this meeting room. But we are happy to be back. This was fun. I'm glad we had a shit one, because I don't think we've ever had a comic book that all of us didn't like to equally shit on. So
yeah, which is kind of funny, because we start off with like, hey, so all downhill, uphill from here.
Yeah. Thanks R.L. Stine for bringing us together with the terrible comic book that you gave us. He didn't give us, but you know, whatever, everybody, whatever. But with that, we're going to bring it to a close. We are happy to be back. We hope everybody had a wonderful holiday week and season, because it's going to come out a little bit afterwards. But we'll be coming back in about 2 weeks with another fun little holiday ditty. And then we'll be right back up with season 2, blessing you with our wonderful voices. So with that, we have Mikey and Lance from Slashers Podcast and Joe from Much Ado About Nerding. You can find us on every podcast platform, Instagram at SlashersPod, or you can find Much Ado About Nerding on Instagram at Much Ado About Nerding Pod with underscores where there's supposed to be spaces. Am I right?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Say bye, Joe.
Oh, bye.
Oh, my goodness.